Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Hurricanes. The Orlando Magic, who continue to be shorthanded, stepped up to defeat the 76ers 104-99 in last night's game. Magic's Cole Anthony, who led the team with 27 points, and recently back on the court, Paolo Banchero, both scored 7 points in the final minute and a half to secure the win for the Magic. Magic's head coach Jamal Mosley on the team's grit.
It's grit. It's all about the grit. And then one of our coaches just mentioned in there, just like, we're just relentless. Relentless no matter what's happening within the game. Just continue to play, continue to fight, continue to make the right plays. And each person stepped up in their own way.
So Icemen were back on home ice this past weekend, having a sweep after defeating the Atlanta Gladiators Friday night, followed by the South Carolina Stingrays Saturday night. It's 46 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our 3 sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey. This is Helmets and Heels.
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Taylor Dahl is back, and she is very happy as the Irish won while you were away and the Packers lost.
Yes, it was a great few days off. I went to Disney, which I had not been since I was a kid. It was my stepsister's birthday, and that's what she wanted to do. We walked like over 37,000 steps.
Love it.
Which ended up, it was like 16-something miles we walked on just Saturday. My feet were hurting so bad. I was like, okay, I don't do nearly enough workouts to do this, but it was a blast.
What was your favorite park or ride?
So we went to Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios. I like Animal Kingdom the most because I love animals. So I could have stayed on the safari ride like all day long and rode it, for hours if we could, but because I like stuff like that. But I did like the rock and roller coaster because I do like roller coasters, and that's why I usually go to Universal Islands of Adventure because I like more of those type of rides. But they have some fun ones still. We got stuck on Haunted Mansion for 30 minutes, backwards, almost hanging upside down. So that was
the nightmare
not
of mine.
ideal. And it was towards the end of the night, and I was very tired. And so it's pitch black in there. And I was like, I could take a little nap right now. But yeah, it was great though. It was a fun time. And it was kind of fun to see too, because walking around, everyone has their jerseys and sports gear on. So I was kind of tracking how I was what fans I was seeing everywhere. And there was a ton of Ohio State, Notre Dame fans there.
They all drove up from the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, that's why I was they were probably on their way back up home or whatever.
Maybe they're driving to Atlanta. I don't know. If you're a Notre Dame fan, you could
go straight to Atlanta.
Get ready for the national championship 1 week from today.
I did see a lot of Jags fans, so that was fun, and a ton of Packers and Lions fans. So every Packer fan that walked by was like, boo, and they're like, why is this girl booing me? But yeah, it was fun, and weather was perfect. So if you want to go to, because summer's just too hot. I can't imagine doing that in July, because even it was 55 to 60 and still walking around and doing so much. I was still man, it's kind of warm out here. And they're it's 55 degrees. But yeah, it was fun.
Your superstitions worked because, you said, Notre Dame won.
Stayed.
So now we have Notre Dame, Ohio State, like Mia said, a week from today. That game is going to be, I feel like, Matt Hayes tweeted this out, some blockbuster ratings because obviously both brands have a huge fan base, but also I think the villain in this case would be Ohio State, the Buckeyes. I
don't know, Lauren. I would say this is a battle of two villains if you ask some folks. I don't know, maybe a certain producer of Matt Hayes' program from 2 to 4 p.m. because I do think that it's two national brands, and yes, that's why the blockbuster ratings will occur. But I also think that because these are two teams that are, for better or worse, perpetually in the national championship conversation, they've also developed some animosity towards them
Yeah.
because all they've done is win. And even if both of their runs may not have been in the last 5 years or so, historically speaking, I think that there's going to be hate for both sides.
Yeah. Well, he's a Miami fan if we're talking about JJ. So, of course, like the Catholics versus convicts, I also hate Miami because of that, too.
Right.
But they do. I think the main thing, like if people don't like Notre Dame, you're probably a Miami fan or you're a Michigan fan or you're a USC fan, probably one of those teams. Or you're just like, join a conference, blah, 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 blah. Like it's those people that hate it. But I do think that so many people, like unless you're an Ohio State fan, you don't like Ohio State. Like
I think that, Ohio State fans, I would put in the obnoxious category. And I'm not saying that there's not obnoxious fans from every fan base.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. But I think by and large, when you're around, if you ever go to an Ohio State bar, that group of fans tends to be obnoxious. People say that about Florida, so I'm not putting Florida in a different category. But I don't think most Notre Dame fans are nearly as obnoxious as Ohio State fans. Plus, you have the fact that they spent so much money this offseason. Ryan Day pushed all the chips in.
Yeah.
And they spent somewhere between $10 and $12 million. I don't think Notre Dame spent quite that much.
They did spend a good amount, though, on old Riley Leonard.
He's like the main guy. I think they only had 7 portal guys total, though.
They were
so
pretty heavy. They were heavy hitters, though,
Yeah.
to be clear.
And it was right because I don't know exactly what Riley Leonard was paid, but I was hearing before it officially happened that it was like potentially up to $9 million he was going to get. I don't know what he ended up getting, but he definitely got paid.
I would doubt it's that much.
because
I heard
again,
it was upwards to like 5.
We talked about what Carson
is
Beck
still-
will get,
which is
for
4.
1 year at Miami,
Yeah.
and that's between $3 and $4 million, and that's a lot, obviously,
Yeah.
again for just one season, which is Riley Leonard. And what Notre Dame does at quarterback moving forward will be interesting. Certainly, what Ohio State does at quarterback moving forward, also another storyline.
Not that I want to rush to the NFL coaching carousel, but we do have a bit of breaking news on that front. So, RJ, let's take a little that if we could.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Round and round it goes. Another twist and turn on the NFL coaching carousel front. According to Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, Mike McCarthy is out as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. The two sides couldn't agree on the length of a contract. McCarthy will pursue other opportunities. His current contract officially expires tomorrow. He, of course, was requested by the Chicago Bears, Taylor Dahl, last week, and that request was denied. But now, all of a sudden, interest from both the Bears and the Saints. McCarthy's a free agent. What would you say to Mike McCarthy, next head coach?
No.
Okay, there we go.
I also, it's funny because I said that last week. I was like, I don't understand their logic behind that of saying no, because I was like, on the 13th, he's able to go wherever. And it made it seem like they were already close to a deal or something, but clearly they weren't. But maybe that's why. Maybe they were like, don't talk to anybody because we don't want you to hear what other people will give you or offer you.
I mean, at the end of the day, you knew that something was going to change in Dallas.
Yeah.
And the moment that they signed Dak Prescott to the extension, that left it up to Mike McCarthy to have a winning season. And when that didn't happen as far as what Cowboys fans would want this past season, even though Dak did get hurt, you still knew that Jerry Jones and the way that he runs his operation, he was going to make sure that he gets a new head coach in there.
Ultimately, it is very, very rare to see a head coach or a general manager actually play out their lame duck season. And the fact that Mike McCarthy actually went the duration of his contract without an extension or a firing is rather fascinating and pretty rare in the National Football League. I couldn't help but feel like when they won 4 of their last 7, and that was despite a litany of injuries, that there was some hope. The fact that Micah Parsons went to bat and said, I love Coach McCarthy. Dak Prescott also echoed those sentiments in the final 2-3 weeks of the season, even if Dak Prescott wasn't playing at that time because of injury. I still felt like there was hope. But the fact that the two sides didn't even start negotiating, Lauren, until Friday. The season ended last Monday, and they were reviewing football administrative decisions Monday through Friday. Like, you really needed 5 days before you actually could say, okay, if we're going to review the season that was and look ahead, doesn't that include a contract for the head coach? It's fascinating, but the Cowboys are always on an island all their own.
McCarthy probably wanted a multi-year deal because that's what you need as a head coach in the NFL, and Jerry Jones probably wanted a shorter deal. And so, they couldn't agree, and that doesn't really affect, I would say, Jacksonville and our coaching search here. One thing that may affect it, and Mia, we talked about Tom Brady towards the end of last week. His interference, I'll call it, in the Ben Johnson sweepstakes, so to speak, and the fact that when he heard, at least this is what we've read and heard since, once he realized that Ben Johnson was going to want his own general manager, Tom Brady and that Raiders organization decided to move on from Tom Telesco. And now, of course, reports are that Tom Brady really wants Ben Johnson, and so he made that vacancy available. But, of course, the Raiders still don't have a quarterback.
RJ, I've been workshopping this one for about 48 hours now. Let's imagine here for a second.
Imagine with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
I can't wait for Francis and the Closets by Design team to build my new walk-in closet next week. Speaking of homes, I'm going to outline two options for you ladies here. Imagine you are given the choice, right? You're buying a new home. Option A is a new construction home. However, you're taking over this new build midway through. So while, yes, you can repaint the walls, you can change the color, you can build things like a closet by Closets by Design, in terms of the actual bones, in terms of the layout of the home, it's already built. You can change some things up, but by far and large, the framework of the house is set. On the flip side, option B. It's a property that's in prime real estate. It's on Ponte Vedra Boulevard. It's out there. The real estate is great. It's a mobile home. You can wheel the mobile home off. You can build your dream home there, and that is the sales pitch. You can live in this little mobile home for a little bit, and then you can build from literally the ground up. Or you can also continue to live in the mobile home with a nice new HVAC unit until you actually wheel it off the lot and decide to start building completely from scratch. Those are the two options that face Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions offense coordinator right now. Option A, the house that's already at least somewhat built, so you can't change how many bedrooms there are unless you're to add an addition. You can't change where the plumbing is. You could certainly repaint and you could certainly fix it up, but it's a new build already. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's the Chicago Bears. Because not to mention, not only is that house already under construction, but you also are getting a roommate who has decided the path in which that house was designed. Option B, well, yes, living in the trailer home, maybe not the best, but the allure of starting from the ground up, and especially when you have, let's say, a great roommate or investor who is helping you and giving you all the money in the world to design this dream house on that prime real estate lot. That's Tom Brady and the Las Vegas Raiders. And so, let's imagine for a second, if you're Ben Johnson and you have those two options, option A, option B, which one are you taking?
I think that's a good question. And I think that when you're looking at it, and I've said this a few times, of which route does Ben Johnson want to go? I don't know. I'm not in his mind. I haven't talked to him personally to see, is he one of these guys that does want his own and, like you said, to be able to build it from the ground up? But I do think there's obviously a little more security and stableness in knowing at least the foundations there. And so I think it would be a massive risk for him to go to somewhere like Las Vegas, honestly, because I even think it'd be a big risk going somewhere like the New York Jets, because yes, you have Aaron Rodgers right now, kind of like a halfway version of Aaron Rodgers, but what do you have next? And I do think that Ben Johnson in Detroit had such a stable foundation when it comes to the offensive line, when it comes to weapons, when it comes to the quarterback, when it comes to everything. He pretty much had this situation on lock, so it would be a massive risk for him to go somewhere like Las Vegas.
So now the counter to that, Lauren, what was the situation in Detroit? And granted, Ben Johnson was retained, but when Dan Campbell rolled up, it probably looked a lot more like option B than it did option A. And look at what they've been able to build.
The answer, the correct and right answer on this is the Jaguars can be the house on Ponte Vedra Boulevard that can be completely redone as long as Shad Khan does what everyone has been asking him to do, and that is to not retain Trent Baalke, to move on from him and to hire a new general manager. And of course, Albert Breer has said today Jaguars owner Shad Khan has expressed some flexibility to coaching candidates on his decision to retain GM Trent Baalke. His read on that: if a coach has the leverage to get what he wants from the team, then Khan could still pull the plug on Baalke. Benjamin Albright the Jaguars have made it pretty clear that for the right coach, they would still move on from Balky. For right now, he remains the general manager and running the day-to-day operations. So you want the best of both worlds, and maybe, just maybe, we can convince Shad to do that. All right, when we return, we will chat with Kadri Ismail, co-host of Purple pregame show. We're going to talk all things Todd Monken and the Ravens. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Your radio highlight reel.
Caught for the touchdown.
1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, contact Florida First Insurance Group on University Boulevard, an award-winning Florida Blue agency well known for providing superior service. Theo Mitchelson and his team at Florida First make the process easy and stress-free with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Contact Theo Mitchelson and the Florida First Insurance Group today and let your health be their priority. And a reminder for Florida Blue members, visit Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations in town offering primary care, walk-in services, and on-site pharmacy and mental health support. SANITAS Medical Center, Florida First Insurance Group, and Sanitas Medical Center, a winning team in Northeast Florida.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 133541.
Helmets and Heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
When the heat's on high or the chill is too much, who you gonna call? Cool Cats Heating and Cooling is locally owned and operated with a perfect touch. You'll keep your home just right, day or night. AC to heating, don't take a beating. Call the coolest cats in town. With a 5-star Google rating, they're your neighbors, ready to help. So get your paw of approval from Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town. CoolCatsJacks.com.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
The Jacksonville Boat Show is at Prime Osborne, January 24th to 26th. For your chance to win tickets, text BOAT to the text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010. 641-1010.
Here's Ben and John Lupo, owners of Beards Diamonds.
It's funny, my dad has sold people engagement rings, and now I'm selling their kids engagement rings and anniversary gifts and birthday gifts.
We're blessed with the relationships we've built over the years.
Check out our full inventory at beardsdiamonds.com.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Bari Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back on the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
They get their two big stars back. Meanwhile, there goes Henry. There goes Henry all the way for the touchdown. Deep, deep drop. Jackson surveys. Jackson fires. Caught. Touchdown. Rashad Bateman.
And Roquan, you guys just won the first playoff matchup. You took down the Steelers 28-14. What are the emotions you're feeling after this win?
We're just getting started, man. I knew how the game was going to go, and it went exactly the way we thought it would go.
You know, this is an AFC North matchup. We knew what kind of game it was going to be. What does it say to win this game against a team you know so well, this great rivalry, to get this win against that team?
No, it's major, man. Just knowing exactly what they do, they know what we do. So it's may the best man win at the end of the day. Mano, mano. So, hey, you versus me, who's going to win? And we showed that today.
That's right. We're going to talk all about the Ravens coming up with Kadri Ismail, who joins us now, the co-host of the Purple pregame and postgame show. Kadri, thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. So last week we had a little bit of an NFL MVP debate, and we each took a different person: Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Obviously, the Bengals didn't make the postseason, but it was a fun debate. For you, Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, I know you're going to say Lamar, but why?
So the reason why is simply because if you look at not only his record and what he's accomplished as far as rushing for over 900 yards, throwing for over 4,000 yards, being the first player in NFL history to do so. But you also look at his quarterbacking, which you look at 40-plus touchdowns. Then you look at the awesomeness of only throwing 4 interceptions. 3 of those interceptions was off his receiver's hands, and then there was a miscommunication with his other receiver on the 4th interception. I think the teams that he played, the defenses that he faced, it wasn't like a slouch schedule. It was a playoff schedule throughout, one of the hardest schedules in the league, and he performed incredibly. So I think when you see the bigger picture of what Lamar did, it's far and away superior to then what we saw, and taking nothing away from him, but what we saw with Josh Allen.
Kadri, let's expand on that a little bit, because we did the quarterbacks. It does feel like that award usually is a quarterback award, but you do see Saquon Barkley's name mixed in it a lot, and I made the point last week that if you're talking about Saquon in the race, then you also need to talk about Derrick Henry. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. I think if you see, yes, Saquon and what he's done, yes, if you see what you talk about when you look at Derrick Henry, those names should be in the equation, but I don't see it trumping Lamar Jackson. I think it's a great thing when you have great players step up. And yes, they're not in that pure quarterback position. It's other players making strong contributions.
Qadri Ismail, Super Bowl champion and co-host of the Purple Pregame Show on WJZ up in Baltimore, joining us on the Garber Automall Hotline. You can find him on X at I am Qadri Ismail. That is QADRY ISMAIL. Qadri, thank you so much for joining us. We've got tons of listener questions that are pouring in, both on the front of that MVP debate, as well as Todd Monken's candidacy here in Jacksonville as the potential next head coach. I want to stick with the MVP conversation and the Baltimore Ravens matchup next Sunday against the Buffalo Bills in primetime. You tweeted it, water is wet, that the Ravens beat down on the Bills in the last meeting. What do you make of the matchup in the divisional round for the Birds?
I think it's a little bit different, clearly. And when I say different, I'm saying that, yes, you're going to look at the entire game film, but you're also going to look at some of the other things that both teams are going to look at what they've done since that game. What are some of the tweaks? What are some of the changes? What did or did not certain players do to help themselves get better? I think those are things that separate pretty much everyone when you talk about how do you get better as a player? How do you get better as a situation that's going to help you be next level? And that next level is, yes, that division round of the playoffs. So I think for this team, the Baltimore Ravens going up against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, what tweaks can you do and not be so necessarily predictable of what you saw in the game previous?
Let's talk about your offensive coordinator, Todd Monken. Why would he make a good head coach?
Okay, this is dangerous territory here because I am a very much pro-Raven person. I appreciate the fact that you guys are asking me this question, so I'm going to answer it as honestly as I can. I think he's a terrible candidate. I think that, in 2 years, he's transformed a quarterback into an even higher, greater level of play, but I don't think he would be able to do that with your quarterback, Lawrence. I think he's just a guy. He's just a quarterback that needs more. And I don't know if he can get more from Todd Monken. I mean, just because Todd, on the collegiate level, transformed Georgia, they won back-to-back national championships, who cares? I mean, that was college. I mean, just because Lamar is about to be a 3-time MVP, who cares? I mean, that's nothing. So maybe perhaps the Jaguar family can go ahead and look at a better candidate than trying to pluck away the amazing, awesome chemistry that is Lamar Jackson and Todd Monken.
So is this, Qadri, from the perspective of Todd Monken has unlocked something within Lamar that, I think Ravens fans want to hold on to a little bit longer and cherish a bit longer? Or do you truly believe that Todd Monken, in his success, is a byproduct of the quarterback he's working with in the National Football League? Because with all due respect to someone who's somewhat local to our area, and Stetson Bennett, many would argue he was just a guy, and he transformed under the leadership of Todd Monken at the University of Georgia into a 2-time national champion.
Yeah, exactly right. See, Stetson knew that he was going to be an amazing quarterback and didn't necessarily need every tutelage of Todd. So Todd was just calling plays. It was Stetson who did the rest. So there it is. Who wants that? I mean, you want a guy that's going to be able to lead both offense, defense, special teams. You want that guy to really motivate your entire team. Why waste your time? I mean, I could sit here and be an analyst, but why be an analyst when I can homer? It's so much better being a homer.
Qadri, I know. So going back to even the beginning of December, and this is before Doug Peterson was even fired, obviously, I had 3 names on my list, and it was Ben Johnson, Todd Monken, and Liam Cohen were the 3 guys that I was talking about even back in the start of December. But I feel like when you look around the league, each of these offensive coordinators that you talk about, they all kind of have their own MO. With Ben Johnson, it's been a lot of kind of quirky, inventive plays that sometimes you feel like, how did he even come up with that? And then you have guys like a Shanahan and a Mike McDaniel who like to use the easy button a lot and help their quarterbacks. What would you say is Todd Monken's MO when it comes to that Ravens offense, and obviously with the weapons he does have in Lamar and a Derrick Henry?
I'm going to put my analyst hat back on so we can give you the fullness of Todd Monken. From a bigger picture perspective, Todd does an amazing job of seeing what he has. It's not about, okay, I see what I have, but here's who I am, and I'm just going to stick to who I am. I think that is what was the undoing of Greg Roman when he had Lamar Jackson, and unfortunately, Lamar reached a certain point and wasn't able to necessarily get over the hump under the tutelage of Greg Roman. Now, with Todd, I think what is awesome, what we saw with Stetson Bennett, what we saw as far as just the personnel of what Georgia had, we're seeing the same thing in what the Ravens have. I think he just sees things and says, okay, great, you got great tight ends, let's use them. Okay, you got some strong receivers, let's use them. Okay, I see we're going to develop a better run game. Well, let's see what kind of run action, run blocking can we use to make this all go and make this all happen. That's something that is rare when it comes to the National Football League. A lot of times you'll see coaches just stick to who they are and can't adapt. And I think that's something that when we're looking at it, the magic that is Todd Monken and what we're seeing with Lamar, it's the term empowerment. How can I best empower you to be the best you can be on the football field? And then what pieces are in place around you that when you see the defense, you know exactly what to do and how to get the ball out to those different pieces. And I think that's what is so cool about what Todd Monken brings to the table.
Kadri, do you see similarities between Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson?
Tangentially, you could say some, similarities. I think, really what Jaden Daniels did, throughout the regular season and even last night was clutch. I think they both, have that clutch gene. I just think that Lamar is a unique one of one. But I think, Jaden Daniels, some of his throws last night for a young player under that amount of pressure was pretty badass. So I think for him, in his mind, he's like, hey, I'm going to be the best Jaden Daniels I can be and not be compared to anybody. Whereas I think for Lamar is Lamar. And, I wouldn't want to be compared to him. I would, want to try to be the best version of me I could be.
Kadri, as we wrap up with you here on the Garber Automall Hotline, I did want to get to some of the questions we've gotten for you throughout the duration of this interview, which thank you so much again for taking the time. Robert is wondering, as we circle back to that MVP debate, could there be co-MVPs like we saw in 2003 in the National Football League?
I think there can be. I think that if the sympathy of, the participation trophy of Josh Allen having an opportunity to win one because he hasn't won one, that's one thing. And, okay, I'll split it with you. You can go ahead and say your speech first, Josh, because I've already said mine twice before. But if you want to really, just dig into the weeds, you're going to see that, man, it's just Lamar it's an MVP, and what Josh did was so great. It just shows you just how great what Lamar did.
I have one more for you, Kadri. When we're talking about Todd Monken, just because obviously that's a lot of the conversation here is that coaching search. And there was a clip that went viral of him talking. It was a show he was on, Depth Chart or something like that. And you could tell passionate, very vocal. There were some cuss words thrown in there, but I think that a lot of teams need that energy, especially somewhere like Jacksonville. Would you say that his personality does stick out in that leadership role when it comes to being able to transfer to being a head coach?
Yeah, I think, here's the one difficulty that it is with being the head coach. Because, as much as, yes, you guys have a franchise quarterback and, it would be great if you had an opportunity to have him develop, take it to the next level. Trevor Lawrence, clearly, it's a quarterback-driven league, has all the talent in the world. And I get all that. The thing is, from a head coaching standpoint, it's balancing the entire team and the roster and also being in lockstep with your general manager. I think part of being in Baltimore, what we see with Todd Monken, it's that he's kind of adapted his personality to John Harbaugh. And John was like, look, we're not a big yelling rah-rah type of a team. We want you to be you, but we also want these men to flourish. And so however these men need to flourish, that's how they need to flourish. I mean, they need to bring their own energy. And I think Todd realized that. I think he even said that, you know what, I've been around many other head coaches before, but he's all about the positive. So with that said, if he does go and gets an interview with Jacksonville and all those things, and if there is some sort of an agreement and all those things in principle, then it would be a situation of, okay, it's not just game planning. It now is team planning. And how does that look? How does the week look? How does the months leading up to the draft, after the draft, what does it look like as far as defense? What's your defensive philosophy going to be? Who do you think would fit that? And what personnel? Those are general manager, head coach, being on the same page responsibilities. And that's something that, yes, as the season progresses, as things go, it amounts to either you're going to win or you're going to be sitting there and you're looking for another head coach.
And we've been through that enough.
Yeah.
All right, Kadri,
Familiar.
we really appreciate your time today, and certainly good luck in the playoffs.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Todd Monken is not a very good head coach, but he's
Understood. Thank you. He sounds a lot like Josh Allen talking about Joe Brady. the
Or
offensive
Baker
coordinator.
Mayfield talking about Liam Cohen. It's
Yep.
awful. He's terrible. Don't consider him.
By the way, it will be, I think, fascinating if we end up with Ravens-Eagles in the Super Bowl. Obviously, I do think Lamar is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, but just with as far as the similar
type of-
the similar styles.
Hey,
You've
it
got
could
mobile
be-
quarterbacks. You've got those running backs.
It could be Ravens Commanders too, Lauren. You're burying the lead here.
I mean, maybe
The
it's
DMV.
I don't know the last time we had a rookie quarterback make a Super Bowl, but certainly we shall see. All right, we have Taylor's Tangent on the other side, and we will get to more NFL playoff games. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. Find them online at wekeepjacksrollin.com. Whether you need tires, repairs, brake services, wheel alignments, oil changes, they've got it for you. They've been doing it for over 60 years. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL on 82.5 FM.
The big game is almost here, and Sonny's Barbecue wants you to win a barbecue feast. Text Sonny's to the text line brought to you by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010 for your chance to win. 641-1010.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Mia here for MyBookie. It's win or go home. The NFL playoffs are the ticket to the biggest game of the year, and all roads lead to New Orleans. The college football playoffs set the stage, but this is your chance to get in on every high-stakes moment along the way. Your road to New Orleans starts now with MyBookie. MyBookie is the ultimate destination for bettors who want more. Whether you're backing the underdogs or riding with the favorites, every drive, every touchdown, every moment is an opportunity to win big. Kick off your 2025 right with risk-free Thursdays. Place a bet, and if it doesn't hit, MyBookie has your back. Dive into the Bet Boost tab to supercharge your picks and build that bankroll before the big game in New Orleans. And when the games are over, the action does not stop. MyBookie's online casino keeps the excitement going 24/7. Blackjack, roulette, slots, it's all there. Whether you're celebrating a big win or gearing up for the next round. Haven't joined yet? Now's the time. Use promo code 1010XL on your first deposit for a 50% deposit bonus instantly because you deserve to start the new year off strong.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Duval Coke Florida congratulates the Jacksonville Jaguars on a great 2024 season. As the local Coca-Cola bottler celebrating 10 years of business, Coke Florida is proud to be the Jags' official beverage partner. From the season kickoff to the final touchdown, Coke Florida's 5,000 associates and passionate fans have cheered on the Jags all season long. Coke Florida and the Jags tackle game day with great taste.
Mia here for Dream Finders Homes. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dream Finders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right. A 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
New year, new beginnings, and a new roof. Start 2025 with peace of mind and take advantage of Universal Roof and Contracting's limited time offer. 15% off all roof repairs and replacements. From leaks to full replacements, call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection today. This special New Year deal ends January 31st. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home and building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. Are you tired of wrestling with your old shower curtain? Then say goodbye to the curtain chaos and hello to a new frameless shower enclosure. Wago Glass is clear, classy, and won't stick to you like a toddler at bedtime. Plus, it makes your bathroom look bigger and brighter. Upgrade your shower experience and step into style. Call me at Baker Glass and get ready to love your new glass shower enclosure. Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
Jacksonville. When AEW returns home, it is the biggest party in all of professional wrestling.
Daily's Place, the home of AEW.
And on Saturday, January 25th, Collision returns live. It's a new year and a whole new era in AEW. And there's no better time to experience the excitement than right now. AEW Collision Homecoming, live from Daily's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Tickets on sale now, starting at $20 at AEWTIX.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 13th, 1962, Philadelphia center Wilt Chamberlain scored 73 points, marking the most points scored in an NBA regulation game by a player at the time.
It's New Year's resolution time, like fixing that leaky faucet, unclogging that drain, or getting your AC ready for the summer. Start the year off right with Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Call us today at 904-862-6769, because when you're stuck, call the Duck.
What's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T here, and it's a brand new year, which means a brand new you, especially in the bedroom. So if you're ready to make 2025 the year to level up where it counts, let me make it a little easier for you. Get yourself some Blue Chew. They've got a chewable tablet that has the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. That means you're getting top-tier performance, my boy, without leaving the house. Blue Chew comes right to your front door in a discreet package, so your neighbors won't even know what's going on. But you will. No doctor's offices and no pharmacy run. Just licensed medical providers helping you find the right prescription. And guess what? They're made right here in the USA. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Yeah, you heard me. Your first month is free. So what you waiting for? Visit BlueChew.com and get a consultation. And start your year off with confidence to keep things interesting in that bedroom. Get that Blue Chew at BlueChew.com, baby. Let's make this year unforgettable.
This is Dr. James Perry, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
A disappointing season that was filled with injuries it was for Christian Kirk this season, as he is shown to be an extremely productive receiver in the past and one of Trevor Lawrence's favorite targets. As there has been lots of chatter as to if Kirk will suit up for the teal and black in 2025, here's Kirk talking about his hopes for next season.
Yeah, I would love to be here. I'm under contract still. Obviously, there's other things that I can't really control, so I'm just kind of focused on being healthy again next year, being healthy this offseason, getting healthy, and just being the best player that I can be, because I feel like I've proven that when I'm on the field, I am one of those players that is one of the better ones on the field.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Gonzalez looking to send Washington into the divisional round. Snap good, hold down, kick on it. It is good! The Cardiac Commanders are the Clutch Commanders! They do it again! We'll see you in Detroit! And Zay Gonzalez kicks in the door and kicks us into the Super Bowl of the playoffs!
That's the way it sounded on the Commander's radio call. I love the radio calls because you get that long pause in between it is and whether or not it's good or not, because, of course, you're taught as a play-by-play person to wait until you are 100% no. Don't call it ahead of time. And, look, I'm sure y'all were watching it live. If you only watched the highlights, you wouldn't have seen this part. But the kicker, Christian Gonzalez, he's out there warming up like that's normal on the sideline, and then he knows it's about to be his time.
Taking his helmet off like 5 billion times.
He kept
fix his hair.
That's his hair.
He kept touching his hair over
Which
and
also
over
is like
again.
a buzz cut.
Kevin was screaming at the TV. He's like, your hair is fine. Your hair is fine.
There's nothing that sends a clear message that you are nervous. Like constantly touching your hair. And then he went to put his helmet on and then was like, nope, gotta touch it some more. And then took it off and then went back to the hair. And then again, one more time, went to put it on and then said, nope, gotta touch it. I was like, bro, you are giving off. If I was a Commanders fan, I would be like, this guy is about to miss such a short kick. In the end, Taylor, he didn't miss.
Doink going in, can't relate. I can't relate. This team, like this Commanders team, is one of the luckiest teams I've ever seen in my entire life. Like going through their season, obviously the Hail Mary that gets batted into somebody's hands. They've had multiple games where Jaden Daniels has thrown like near picks at the end and it's gotten like tipped just barely out of the way, or ones that have gotten tipped into a defender's hand and the defender has dropped it. Now you doink into a win, and it's just like this is one of those teams where it feels like football gods for like they're like, you got rid of Dan Snyder, we're gonna give you some good vibes this year, because almost every single game I've been like, that is one of the luckiest things I've ever seen in my entire life, and I don't get that. I never get those moments.
I know. 5 games that came down to something like that. And then, I mean, it's very similar to the way the Vikings were a season ago, where in a lot of those one-score games, they also
were
had
like
the ball
10-1 in one-score games, or 11-0. It was crazy.
Did anybody else, though? I was worried because the amount of times that, and I understand it's like there's 78% success rate on fourth down is the highest in 40 some odd years or something like that. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if that's your identity, I get being over aggressive. But as I'm watching Dan Quinn continuously go for it on fourth down, I just couldn't help but have this sneaking suspicion in the back of my mind of, oh no, is he about to Dan Campbell this thing? Like Dan Campbell did in the NFC Championship game last year, where again, respect to identity, because the Lions were really good on fourth down last year. And he said, we're not going to go away from who we are. But ultimately, it was one gamble too many, and it came back to haunt them. It didn't come back to haunt the Commanders last night. But the irony now is they got to go up to Detroit, 2 teams that love to go for it on fourth down. Something is going to have to give.
If the ball had not gone in with the doink, had it gone out, which I feel like is what happens most of the time, I think the Bucs win the game, even though the Bucs had certainly some issues. We saw the fumble exchange between Baker and one of the running backs, and then also the time when the snap count was clearly off and the center was snapped the ball, but nobody else was ready for the play. Like, you don't expect that kind of stuff to happen at home with a team that's been to the playoffs recently.
With those experience.
With an experienced
and we
quarterback.
saw a Vita Vea touchdown. I was like, I wanted that so badly.
Vita Vea lining up as a receiver was just phenomenal for those of us watching at home that are comparing these offensive coordinators. And now, of course, we're watching with such critical eyes. Like, are you going to be the next Jaguars play caller? If you are, I love that. I hated that and that kind of thing. In the end, the Commanders move on. The only underdog to win this past weekend. And then we have, of course, a game tonight in Glendale, Arizona between the Vikings and the Rams. Who you like?
Before we give our picks for tonight, I do want to...
Because they're not official picks.
I do want to clarify, the text line just blew up, and we apologize. We are not trying to laugh at mental health or stigmatize it. Apparently, Zane Gonzalez was very open about the OCD he lives with, and so the hair tick
I was
is
like,
part of
I
his
was wondering,
OCD.
honestly, if it's something like that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
apologize. I didn't listen to that portion of the drill this morning when Jeff referenced it. I had not seen that online, even though I'm very online, but I'm trying to be less online. So I apologize. Thank you, 422. Thank you, 602. We appreciate you. We are not laughing at mental health. I've gone on this program and said how important therapy has been for me in the last 6 months. Trust me, I am not trying to diminish mental health or stigmatize
I
it.
had no idea that he had that either. And so, look, what I do think now that it's come to light is other people who struggle with OCD can understand that everyone has different tics.
Yeah.
Right.
In college, I lived with a girl who, and she's awesome, but she had, her OCD was washing her hands.
Yeah.
And her hands would bleed because she'd wash her
them
hands
so
so
much.
many times.
Yeah, right.
And so you try to have that conversation of like, I promise your hands are clean. You just, maybe a little bit less will be helpful. But either way, we all can understand, yes, mental health and those challenges. But because I didn't know that in the moment, I just thought it was a nervous thing. And I thought, he's not going to make this kick. And he came close.
Which honestly, like a lot of when they do have something like some sort of tick, a lot of times it is sprung by nervousness. So there probably was nerves that factored into that. But yeah, we're not mocking that in any situation. You see it all the time, and not saying it's directly correlated. But in baseball, they all have their little thing. Like not all of them, but you'll see guys who have their certain little things. You have to go up and they kick their foot 3 times and then move this, and those are all nervous ticks. And like that happens when in big moments. Obviously, it's just enhanced, and the camera zooming in didn't help.
And men's basketball before a free throw or women's basketball before a free throw, everyone has their
How many
routines.
dribbles do they do, or like whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. So Vikings, Rams. I'm going to guess you're going to take Kevin O'Connell's group.
Yeah,
the Vikings.
I've got the Vikings just because of the consistency, and I don't think there's any way that they put together 2 performances back to back like what we saw against the Lions and the last time we saw the Vikings on a football field. Obviously, the element of this game now being played in Glendale, Arizona is certainly a factor in this game. The Rams have stressed that they have tried to make this as much of a home game as possible. They flew the PA announcer in. They've got the same decorative memorabilia everywhere that they would at SoFi Stadium, and I commend the Rams organization for that. I do think this is
and the Cardinals for stepping in a situation like this too. By the way, so the line originally had the Rams favored. Now the Vikings are favored. Is that correct?
Yes. I know when I made my midday picks last week, at that point it had gone back in favor of the Vikings. And so I know I took the Vikings at -1 on MyBookie. You should too at mybookie.ag. It is now a 2.5-point line, Lauren, favoring the Minnesota Vikings. And so I think that speaks more to a Rams team that at different junctures this season has been leaking oil. Certainly in the early onset when they did not have Cooper Kupp, when Puka Nacua was not at full strength. They've faced throughout the course of the regular season different, not only injuries that have questioned their depth, or tested their depth, I should say. But also, I think at some point in time, you have so many young players, whether those are second-year players or rookies. There's going to be not necessarily a rookie wall, but growing pains at different points, and you've seen that from the Rams. And so I think that ultimately that's what this game comes down to, and I just don't see a world in which Sam Darnold throws 3 or 4 picks in a second consecutive game, although he is Sam Darnold, and we've all sat here and we've said, when is he going to turn back into Sam Darnold? I just don't see it happening in back-to-back games.
Yeah, I mean, we had the conversation a second ago of what the Lions and Commanders game can bring when it comes to going for it on the 4th downs and those very aggressive coaching styles. This is 2 guys that we're talking about in a McVay and KOC that we've talked about a ton this year, and how much they benefit their teams and how well they can game plan around everything that they do have. I'm still going to stick with the Rams. I picked them when we do make our picks. I'm going to stick with that. They've won 6 of their last 8 games, and I think the only reason they weren't winning early is because Cooper Kupp wasn't playing and Puka Nacua was hurt. I just think that they've caught fire, and this also includes wins over the Eagles and the Bills, by the way, during that time. So it's not like they had some easy stretch at the end to where they could glide through. I think this is a Rams team that has proven that when they are healthy, they're one of the better teams in the NFC.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't have to make the pick official as far as our picks contest. I struggled this past week, by the way. I went 0-4 to start last week, and then finally got 2 points by the end
with Washington.
With the Commanders, and then Eagles as well, but
Yeah.
we all picked the Eagles, so that didn't necessarily help. But I thought for
We
sure.
also all picked the Chargers.
We
and
did.
Yikes.
I
that
thought
one
for sure the
backfired.
Chargers would beat the Texans, and the fact that the Texans, speaking of leaking oil, that's how I thought they would play that game. And when you saw Stroud and some of the bad throws he had, I thought, okay, yeah, the Chargers are going to win this. And then the Broncos-Bills, I thought the Bills would win, but I thought that game would be fairly close, and especially the way that it started with Bo Nix and that drive down the field to score the touchdown early. And then literally they couldn't do
Nothing.
anything else.
Wheels fell off.
Yeah, the wheels certainly fell off. So I do think we have a monumental game when it comes to. I'm excited for Commanders Lions, but Bills or Ravens at the Bills, like that game is. I mean, if you like football, just sit back, settle in, and who cares about the MVP conversation? Just see two fantastic teams.
Well, and that's why we asked Kadri Ismail, and thanks again to him for joining us, the Super Bowl champion, and up in the Baltimore area. But I mean, the last time these two teams faced, and I remember us making the pick for it because the
September 29th.
Yeah, the Bills were coming off of a big victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday Night Football.
Easy victory. I don't know if it was big.
But at the same time, they put up a lot of points. And so many people said, oh, yeah, here come the Bills. They're just going to roll through Baltimore. The Ravens started the season 0-2. I think people forget about that.
Yeah.
And Lamar responded accordingly. 35-10, the final. And that game did take place in the DMV. Or no, that's not. No, Mia, correct yourself. Baltimore is not the DMV. It took place at M&T Stadium. Point being, that was a home game for the Ravens.
Yeah.
They got to go to Orchard Park now. And Lord knows what the forecast is going to be. And you know that the Mafia will be out in full force. And how does that affect the game?
Yeah, well, certainly we shall find out. I'll take the Vikings just since we're throwing it out there. It looks like, by the way, next Sunday, the weather in Buffalo, snowy conditions, high of 24, low of 13.
Water is wet.
And that game is, of course, Sunday night at 6:30. So bundle up. All right, we do have a special guest on the other side. We will chat with John Kincaid and talk all things Eagles. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The station that covers the Jaguars day in and day out.
Where else do you get that analysis? Only here on 1010.
Only here is where you get
Jaguars Radio, nowhere else.
The station with the best Jaguars coverage. 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made this process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And be sure to check out their New Year's specials, including 18-month special financing. Closets by Design, 1-800-293-3744.
All right, gang, I'm just going to level with you. Prosser here. There are not the problems associated with selling your home that you might think that there would be. There are solutions for sure. Your home sold guaranteed or they will buy it. Who's they? It's Chad and Sandy Newman at chadandsandy.com. Call Chad and Sandy. They're the agents I would call to sell my home. And by the way, potential problems you think you may have. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Chad and Sandy deliver with a promise. They guarantee your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. We got proof. David and Heather, Fox Ridge and Orange Park. We wanted to move to Keystone Heights, closer to family and away from the city. We heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. It's all true. We got multiple offers and sold in 3 days for $15,000 above asking price. It's that simple. Go to chadandsandy.com or call 904-414-6200.
Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. And now they're giving back. Lauren Brooks here. Hodges Mazda wants to say thank you to all educators, first responders, and healthcare providers by offering a complimentary oil change and car wash. Simply call them today or schedule online at hodgesmazda.com. This is all part of the Hodges Mazda difference. Come experience that for yourself. Visit them online at hodgesmazda.com. Free oil change not to exceed $79.99. Excludes diesel vehicles. Expires January 31st, 2025. See dealer for complete details.
to Big Chief Tire Monday, the local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and I've been telling you for years about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures right now running an awesome special for January. Get a complete enclosure done, get free flooring. Now that can save you some money. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring also running a buy one room, get the second room free. Once again, only for January. Now offering flooring coating as well. So give them a call. I know I did. Visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
How many schools are there in the Big 12, the Big 10, the SEC, and the Pac-12?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 16 teams in the Big 12, 18 in the Big 10, 16 in the SEC, but only 2 teams remain in the Pac-12.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and personal loans, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. You can. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 904-999-1508, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free quote now with no hard credit pull at 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Dan and Jeff are going to be live from the brand new showroom at Tyson Sound & Security this Friday. You have to check out Tyson's showroom home theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. Did I mention Friday morning you can enter to win a $2,500 prize giveaway? Bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound & Security, now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjacks.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Kuhn Flowers. The Gators men's basketball team found a way to win on the road this Saturday, defeating the Arkansas Razorbacks 71-63. Winning big games on the road has not been common for several SEC teams this season, so head coach Todd Golden is proud of his team's performance.
Yeah, I mean, we can win in different ways, and I think that's a good sign of a really complete team. We've won on the boards all year, plus 10 again today on the road against a really athletic team, hard to do. And our defense traveled. We held the 30% from the field. I thought we defended pretty well, and down the stretch, we did a wonderful job of defending without fouling around the rim.
Gators now get back at home in the O-Dome to host Missouri for a 9 o'clock tip-off tomorrow night. You can hear the game live on 10:10 a.m. It's 46 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Throw it here. Quick throw near side. Good adjustment and a catch by Goddard, who runs over his man, still at his feet, and he scores! What a play by Dallas Goddard. Ran right through Valentine for the touchdown. Here's Barkley. He's going to take a slide. So quick. That's a classy move because that was a home run ball. But Saquon will take a slide to officially end it.
I don't know if I'd have been as classy, just so you know.
So A.J. Brown, while we're figuring that out, he's a little frustrated. Obviously, he hasn't seen too many balls today. He's going to read a little passage here.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many people read books, but I've seen a quarterback eat a hot dog.
That's a book that I bring every single game. And, my teammates call it a recipe. That's the first time I heard that y'all got me on camera. But it's not the first game. It got a lot of points in there. It's a lot of mental game, a lot of mental parts about it. And, what's for me, this game is mental. I physically believe I can do anything and everything, but, I got to make sure I'm mental good. It's something like how I refresh every drive. Regardless of if I score a touchdown or I drop a pass, I always go back to that book every drive and just refocus and nothing matters, nothing happens, and just relog back in. But,
I saw at least one morning news program this morning in Philadelphia led with the anchors reading as they came on the air, and they were reading that book. That John Kincaid will give us more information as he joins us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline right now. What book exactly A.J. Brown has been reading during games. But before we get to that, yes, John Kincaid is making his second go-round here on Helmets and Heels. Kind enough to join us here as we begin the 1 o'clock hour. And, John, the floor is yours before we recap Wild Card Weekend, before we ask you about Kellen Moore and what he's brought to the Eagles. The floor is yours because the last time you joined us, you illustrious purveyor of radio, you told us that Press Taylor would once again be the downfall of Doug Peterson, that he was the reason that DP was ousted in Philadelphia. Please, if you want to take your victory lap, go for it, my friend.
I have no idea why one grown man would allow their professional career to be derailed by another grown man twice in a matter of 5 years. It makes no sense to me. And you got to understand, we love, as I've told you before, we love Doug Peterson in this town. He will forever be just beloved. I just can't figure it out. I can't figure it out, because when I was saying it to you guys, I was saying it more along the lines of, okay, he won't let that happen again. But he did. He did. It's shocking to me, because honestly, I wouldn't hire Press Taylor on the dog walking app. If I was looking and surveying who would do that, I wouldn't trust them. So I have no idea why Doug Peterson feels this immense trust in Press Taylor. It derailed twice. Now it's, Doug will go and relax on the beach in Florida and spend his money. So good for him.
Yeah, John, we've had the conversation many times of how does Press keep doing this to Doug, but also how does Trent keep keeping his job when he shouldn't, as in Trent Baalke keeping his job when he should not. But let's jump to, obviously, we want to talk about the game a little bit last night, because thank you beating the Packers. I also am a Bears fan, so anytime I see the Packers lose, I'm happy. But the game last night, obviously some defensive plays, multiple interceptions, special teams plays, it ultimately won that game for Philly last night. But you can still see the big star, which is Saquon Barkley, which has been the shining light this whole season. But tell us a little bit about this offense and kind of the ups and downs it's had this season. How do you pull it all together in the postseason now?
Well, it's funny is that Jalen Hurts and the offense taking a bunch of bullets today. When you look at the Eagles are the number one defense in the NFL, but the Packers in every statistical category against the pass, against the run, everything, we're very much in the neighborhood of that Eagles defense. And so we knew that was a tough defensive battle going in, that they were going to be a problem. We have people getting on Jalen Hurts. He was 10 for 12 passing from the pocket for 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, and they won by 12. Mm-hmm. And people are talking about it like, wow, that's a problem for the Eagles offense on the talk shows today. When I saw Justin Herbert throw, 4 interceptions?
Yeah.
I saw Jordan Love throw 3. I mean, it's that the Eagles don't turn the ball over, and that's been their formula for success. 1 interception for Jalen Hurts since the bye week after a 2-2 start. It's been pretty amazing, and the defense is just outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
They're absolutely outrageous, and they are the youngest defense in the NFL, youngest defensive roster in the NFL. And for them to be number 1 is something that I wish I could take a victory lap on, because I thought if they could just get to be like 12-14 this year, I thought the Eagles would have a chance. And to be number 1 overall, I can't even fathom what Vic Fangio's done.
Speaking of that, because both Nakobe Dean and Darius Slay suffered injuries in the game yesterday. So what does that look like for the defense? Obviously, it doesn't look like Nakobe Dean. That's a knee injury. But Darius Slay did come back.
Yeah, Nakobe's done, and Slay came back, and Slay will be fine.
Okay.
And Slay goes down every game. And by the way, you call him Slay. Nobody calls him Darius. It's got to be called Slay. It's his thing. And and every single game he goes off injured at some point, and then he comes back in and he does well. I think he's going to be fine. It's just the loss of Nakobe Dean, which could end up being a huge Achilles heel to not make the Eagles have a problem on defense, but just to damage the great success that they have had.
The Jaguars certainly saw Nakobe Dean and what he brings to the table up close and personal when that interception obviously sealed that game. But I do think the linebackers for the Eagles are pretty underrated as far as Zach Bond. And then now, of course, you'll have Oren Burke stepping in for Nakobe Dean. So I think that's super impressive. We always talk about all the guys from Georgia that are good, but there's some other guys on the Eagles defense that are good as well. But let's get it to the offense as far as Kellen Moore. We are taking our tour around potential head coaching candidates for here in Jacksonville. What are your thoughts, John, on Kellen Moore as a head coach?
Well, here's the one thing is that knowing I was going to come on with you today, I was thinking, wow, how would Kellen fit with what you guys want to do down in Jacksonville? And then the news on Mike McCarthy broke. And I truly believe by the end of the day today, Kellen Moore will be towards the top of the betting odds list to become the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He coached there. He was part of it. Mike McCarthy sort of forced a parting of the waves with Kellen Moore, and then he went to Los Angeles for the 1 year and then came to Philadelphia. I think he may end up being the top candidate there coming up soon. I like Kellen. I like Kellen's I think his professionalism is really, really good. His success in the NFL at understanding what it takes to create a solid offense is fantastic. I am not a believer, though, that he's a difference maker. And to me, like you talk about everybody with like Ben Johnson, the Detroit offensive coordinator, that man, his innovation, his creativity is clearly cutting edge and different. I don't really think that with Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore is more the guy who usually always gets an NFL head coaching job, the guy who's been an assistant for a long time or been a coordinator for a while that then gets to be a head coach because it's their turn. To me, it's not that he has anything that he does in his job that jumps off the page and says, man, this guy's a supreme innovator or the guy you got to hire for the job. And he's boring as hell. I'm just going to warn you. He's boring as hell.
Thanks for the warning.
Kellen's a great guy as far as his information and everything, but man, he could bore you at church. I'm telling you.
John,
he'll never be a Southern preacher. Let's put it that way.
John Kincaid of 975 The Fanatic joining us now on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. You can find him on X at John Kincaid. That is Kincade up in the city of brotherly love. John, you did also spend some time in the Atlanta area, and so I'm curious.
Quite a bit, quarter of a century.
Yeah, exactly. So you've also still got some intel, some roots in Georgia. I'm curious, your perspective and the national Philadelphia regional perspective of the Jacksonville Jaguars opening of Trevor Lawrence from your vantage point, especially having covered the Eagles up in Philadelphia and knowing I don't want to call Howie Roseman a roadblock because Howie Roseman has done so much for that franchise, but having a GM already in the building and trying to make a head coaching hire. What's the perception of Jacksonville right now in this cycle? And additionally, can you apply that previous experience when the Eagles have had to go out and find a head coach, even if the GM is still in the building?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is Howie Roseman has gotten to hire multiple coaches and everything because Howie Roseman has also won a Super Bowl, been to another Super Bowl, has won numerous division championships, playoff games, and everything. So it's a different kind of story there. Trent Baalke, I don't know how he keeps his job because the perception in Jacksonville is that you guys can't get it right, can't get it fixed. But I think that the hiring of Dan Campbell a few years ago by the Detroit Lions should sort of be the blueprint as far as that to every fan base to go, okay, they can get it right and they can sustain it. You guys had a Tom Coughlin to start building that franchise from the beginning. And Tom Coughlin is exactly the type of guy that I would be looking for. Somebody that is stable, somebody that is a specialist in the leadership of men, as far as to be able to say, hold people accountable. Doug is awesome. Doug Peterson's an awesome man. Everybody will love him. But Doug Peterson is the substitute teacher. Doug Peterson's the teacher that everybody likes, because you can probably get away with the, sneaking in on an expired hall pass or something and not get demerits. I'm going back to my high school years. Is that it's a difference. They need somebody to come in there, lay down the law, and set up that there's a new standard in town. And I just don't know that. I don't know that they ever go that route. Do they go that way? I mean, do you guys go? I mean, you went Urban Meyer. I mean, nothing says. I mean, nothing says like it's Shad Khan, right? Is that Mr. Khan? Is it he sat in a room and looked at Urban Meyer and said, "This is a leader of men." I can't get over it. I mean, the only thing that Urban Meyer could lead men to is a strip club. I mean, that's about it. I mean, he's not a leader of men. And Doug Peterson is a great, great guy who men like hanging out with. But you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to go drink some beer on the golf course and play golf with Doug Peterson. It's like, but as far as the guy who's my sort of CEO, the guy who is running my franchise and holding everybody accountable and large and in charge, I'm sorry, that's not Doug. That's not Doug. Doug needed Howie Roseman to be that here. So that part of the job was covered. Not that Doug has to make or whoever is your coach has to make all the personnel decisions. But you have to have a strong personality in that room. You have to have a strong, okay, it's going to be, you may be the GM, but I'm the guy who's setting the tone in this franchise. The fact that Mike Vrabel got the Patriots job, he's the exact kind of guy that I would hire if I was the Jacksonville Jaguars. I would hire someone like that, an ex-player that can command a room, that is large and in charge, and sort of has a bit of an old school edge to them. Channel the inner Tom Coughlin and find somebody who isn't as old school as far as just maybe, driving some people in the wrong direction, but strong-willed and honestly able to set a tone and set a standard and then let him do his job for a few years.
John, final question.
Sure.
Have you had a player come to Philadelphia and be as impressive as Saquon Barkley both on and off the field?
No. I mean, Bryce Harper would probably be an example, is that Bryce Harper was known as sort of a young, sort of brash, sort of a hothead and everything like that down with the Nationals. He's come to this town, and he is an icon. He's become an icon. He's become part of this community. He's embraced the community and did everything you could ever imagine. So I would say that, but Saquon takes it to a really different level because there's something about Saquon. There's something about, Saquon that is not look at me. He just is, I'm coming to work, and he's completely selfless. The energy that the aura that the guy has is truly amazing. I mean, he's unbelievable. Not only what he's done on the field, but what he's done just to assimilate himself to being a Philadelphia Eagle. And like yesterday, with a wide open touchdown run in front of him, he could have run 40 more yards, added 40 yards to his playoff stats, and gotten a touchdown as the game's running out. And he slides down and just lays there to run the clock out. He's selfless. He's not egotistical, and he should be the MVP, and nobody could argue it with me differently. He should be the MVP of the NFL. He's not going to get it because I guess they only give it to quarterbacks.
Well, John, I will tell you this. Lauren Brooks wanted to make the argument last week when we did our MVP debate that Saquon Barkley should be one of the names that we brought to the table.
Yes.
I think we swayed her away, but you're more than welcome anytime to join us in that MVP debate over the next few weeks.
On this one, yes. I mean, and look, it's great. It's great that Lamar Jackson. Everyone's like, Lamar Jackson is he should be the MVP, and Lamar's spectacular. But all I would just point to is Lamar lost, I think, 5 times, and when he played the Eagles, he got held. He legitimately got held to 12 points. I mean, there were too many times where Lamar Jackson didn't come up against the Chiefs, against the Eagles, to be able to make the plays to lead a team to victory. He's got 2 already. Saquon should be the MVP, and I honestly don't even think it should be close.
Mic drop. John Kincaid. This is why we have him as a reoccurring guest, friend of the program here on Helmets and Heels.
I would love to. I'll love to join you again in the future. And I always loved going down to. Do you know where Hammock Beach is?
Yes, of course.
Got any of our,
Palm
if you
Coast.
got any of the listeners down there, we used to go to Palm Coast every summer. So if you know anybody, if anybody's listening down at Hammock Beach, the Kincaids love you, and we miss the place. And especially when it's like 20 degrees every day here with snow on the ground.
Well, there's no sun out today, John. So trust me, I walked into the office and I said to Taylor Dahl, I'm like 46 and gray. That
was. I heard the temperature check when you guys were coming back, and I said to my wife, I went, it's 46 in Jacksonville. That's terrible.
That's when you know there's something going on. John, we appreciate you as always.
Anytime.
Again, 97.5, The Fanatic in Philadelphia. And I do want to echo what John said, because in addition to trying to bring you guys the very latest that I'm hearing on the coaching hire front. Look, I sat here last Monday, 1 week ago today, and I said that Doug Peterson was the right man for the job in 2022. He ultimately is not the right man for the job in 2025, and that's no fault of his own. It's just the nature of where this franchise has grown. But a lot of what John outlined there is reflected in the reporting I've done since Doug Peterson's firing 1 week ago. And that's not to say I had a conversation just now on the text line, Design My Lifetime Enclosures, with one of our Heeligans. If you go around the National Football League and you took a poll of people, coaches, staffers, GMs, players, who do you love the most? Who do you believe is truly a great human being? Doug Peterson probably wins that poll. Mm-hmm. But as John outlined, is just a great guy who you want to go golfing with. Is that what this franchise needs right now? So we appreciate John. And look, I know some of you are saying, oh, he's a hack in Philadelphia. No, what he said, I will tell you, it's been echoed to me more times than one in the last week.
All right, Taylor's Tangent is on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them with 5 locations around town or online at wekeepjacksrollin.com. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Because you love the game. And so do we. 1010XL.
Start your new year off healthy. Get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, and kidney. Early detection is key with 5 locations across Northeast Florida. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Mia here for my friends at Projax Roofing. Winter is coming. Or as we just said to John Kincaid, winter is already here in Northeast Florida. If your roof took on any damage at all this past year, or you want to get ahead of these cold winter months, know that Projax Roofing is here to help. From the smallest of repairs to full roof replacements, my friend Mike has been serving all of Northeast Florida for 25 years. If you need any help with your roof, call Projax Roofing at 904-338-1722 or visit them online at projaxroofingfl.com.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at goosehead.com.
Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Everybody, Mike Dempsey with a question here. Was your goal to lose weight this new year?
If so, are you already down 18 pounds? That's a serious question because I dropped 18 pounds in my first 3 weeks alone with Awaken 180 weight loss. That's how fast the weight can fall off when you choose the solution for weight loss. Each week, you look at the scale and the number goes down and down. Every morning you wake up, you feel better and better. For me, I love that instant feedback of knowing that Awaken 180 was working for me on a daily basis, experiencing those results. And given how easy Awaken 180 was, there was no way I wouldn't reach my goal. And I did. 25 pounds total thanks to Awaken 180, and I've kept the weight off since. The only weight loss program I know that puts their money where their mouth is. They're so confident in your success, they offer free support for life. A one-time investment in yourself for a lifetime of benefits online at awaken180weightloss.com.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Need extra cash for the holidays? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn is always buying guns, musical instruments, surfboards, and tools, and pays cash money. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
Share a cup of coffee and range balls with Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros. Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Sounds like a lot of club for this young man.
Brunch with the tour.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation, 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Mia here for MyBookie. It's win or go home. The NFL playoffs are the ticket to the biggest game of the year, and all roads lead to New Orleans. The NCAA playoffs will set the stage, but this is your chance to get in on every high-stakes moment along the way. Your road to New Orleans starts now with MyBookie. MyBookie is the ultimate destination for bettors who want more, whether you're betting the underdogs or riding with the favorites. Every drive, every touchdown, every moment is an opportunity to win big. Kick off your 2025 right with risk-free Thursdays. Place a bet, and if it doesn't hit, MyBookie has your back. Dive into the Bet Boost tab to supercharge your picks and build that bankroll before the big game. And when the games are over, the action does not stop, folks. MyBookie's online casino keeps the excitement going 24/7. Blackjack, roulette, slots, it's all there. Whether you're celebrating a big win or gearing up for the next round. Haven't joined yet? Now's the time. Use promo code 1010XL on your first deposit, and MyBookie will hook you up with an instant bonus because you deserve to start the year off right.
Pick it here for About 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of About 9. Visit About 9 Associates today and experience the difference. About 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
The gang is all back together. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. Right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent. Take it away.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
We've mentioned it a few times today, but the Eagles beating the Packers last night, 22-10. Jordan Love, 20 for 33, 212 yards, -3 touchdowns, through 3 picks in this game. But I saw this video, and someone made it earlier in the season, and I already thought it was funny. And I was like, people just find stats and things to connect everything, which it's fine. Give us this content. But now this year also adds another year to this theory that somebody made up. Have you guys heard about the Toyota-thon relation to Jordan Love?
No.
Okay. So there is this theory that Jordan Love thrives during Toyota-thon. If you've watched any commercial, any TV, you've seen Toyota-thon commercials.
Mia's well aware.
I know. I was going to say, do the folks at Arlington know this? I may have to alert them about this news.
So in 2023, Toyota-thon occurred over a span of 50 days. It was from November 23rd, I can't remember the exact day, and I thought I wrote it, but it's like November 15th or something like that. 2023 to January 3rd, 2024 was the period of time that was the Toyota-thon. Before the Toyota-thon in 2023, Jordan Love was completing just 58% of his passes, had 14 touchdowns and 10 picks during that time. Once Toyota-thon started, he completed 70% of his passes for 18 touchdowns and 1 pick during the stretch that Toyota-thon was happening in 2023. Now this year, 2024, before Toyota-thon, he was completing 61% of his passes, but had 15 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. During the Toyota-thon this year, he was completing 65%, 10 touchdowns, just 1 pick during that time. Toyota-thon ended January 6th, and then yesterday he throws 3 picks in a game. Something with Jordan Love and
Does he drive a
Toyota.
I think we need some like X-Files music or something up in here because man alive, that's not a conspiracy. But as soon as you said that date, November 23rd, Taylor, not only because of our friends at Arlington Toyota, I said, well, I know that's when Toyota-thon starts, but also that was the big talking point, right? That's the reason Jordan Love got paid was because, much like Trevor Lawrence the year prior, well, look at his last 7-8 games. He ranked among the top quarterbacks in the National Football League. But as now you are pointing out, if for only a 2-month stretch out of the year.
It's just Toyota-thon.
Each year. It's only during Toyota-thon.
It's genuinely crazy. Like, so during that time, during his Toyota-thon time, he has 28 touchdowns and 2 picks. And outside of that, he has, 29 touchdowns and 20 picks.
He might need to drive a Toyota because he drives apparently either a Tesla or a Ford Mustang.
Okay.
So
Maybe
he needs to get into a 4Runner or a Tundra or Sequoia or the new Land Cruiser, one of those.
I mean, I feel like if the Packers get a hold of this, they may pay Toyota to like extend Toyota-thon to January a little deeper. Because if that's the secret, then, but it's just wild. Like, and at first I was like, who thinks of stuff like this? But then I was going through and it really is crazy. And someone broke it down even more so to where like his all like more EPA and QBR and everything inside and outside, and it's insane the correlation between Jordan Love inside and outside Toyota-thon.
That really is surprising, and I'm interested too to see, does it repeat next year?
Yeah.
And do they extend? They started September 7th and
they're
run
like,
it all the way
Toyota-thon is
through.
football season this year in Wisconsin.
We're going to lose money, but that doesn't matter. Jordan Love will be successful. All right, we've got one segment to go. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them online at wekeepjacksrollin.com. They've been doing it all in the automotive industry for over 60 years. Family owned. You'll love them just like we do. It's 10 to XL 92.5 FM.
Start the new year with a fresh look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% off on our energy-efficient windows and patio doors designed to keep your home comfortable year-round and your energy bills down. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation. But hurry, the special New Year's offer won't last. License number CGC 1527613.
It's New Year's resolution time, so why not skip the guilt and do something you'll actually stick to? Mia here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. How about fixing that leaky faucet, unclogging that drain, or getting that AC ready for the summer? Duck Duck Rooter is here to help you keep this resolution. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Invest in your home and start the year off right. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Why Arlington Toyota pre-owned? I'll tell you why. Over 600 vehicles in stock, one location. That's over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 110 pickups, over 30 Jeeps, over 50 luxury vehicles on the ground in stock at one location. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18K. Plus, Arlington's 30-day exchange program is now double. That's 60 days to decide if you love your purchase or come on back and exchange it for one that you do. Worried about financing? Don't be. Arlington's Credit for Everyone program is here to help you get financed. You even get a complimentary car wash with every scheduled service. 600 vehicles in stock on the ground every day. Plus, 60-day exchange, Credit for Everyone, and so much more. So if you want to know why Arlington, now you know. But I gotta ask, what are you waiting for? Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
The big game is almost here, and Sonny's Barbecue wants you to win a barbecue feast. Text Sonny's to the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Flooring, at 641-1010 for your chance to win. 641-1010.
Hey, poker fans! The Best Bet Winter Open Series returns to Best Bet Jacksonville from January 23rd to February 2nd. Satellites into the $1,500 main event kick off January 4th. Take your shot at big payouts with 8 action-packed events and $500,000 in guarantees. Visit bestbetjacks.com for more details. That's bestbetjacks.com. And we'll see you at the Winter Open starting January 23rd.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday. Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $2,600 per ounce. Pay bills. Buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
If fishing is in your DNA, hop in the boat with Captain Kevin. It's the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PEC to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PEC to 321-321. That's PEC to 321-321.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
On an episode of The Rich Eisen Show this week, Eisen and his crew dove into the Jaguars' current situation as their franchise quarterback awaits his new head coach. Listen into some of the reasons they view Jacksonville as a very attractive destination for one of those sought-after head coaching candidates.
They got a kid that's now been generationally enriched, and it's going to be on him with his third head coach since being drafted. Again, you've got Trevor Lawrence. They're building a whole bunch of new stuff. They got an owner who's got a ton of capital. They got an international following. You got fans there in Duval County who love the team, and a very winnable division, it seems.
And a budding superstar wide receiver.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
10XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Our thanks to all of our wonderful friends of the program who joined us for today's Big Chief Tire Monday edition of Helmets and Heels. That includes our friend John Kincaid up in Philadelphia with 975 The Fanatic. I did want to clarify the book that A.J. Brown was reading on the sideline, Inner Excellence, written by Jim Murphy, is now the hottest selling book on Amazon. I know we are all
thank you.
Stunned by that. So did want to cool down a little bit with that, but we also will cool down with the AP Top 25 on the men's basketball and women's basketball side. We'll focus on the men here on Helmets and Heels, the men's poll, which was just released. My ballot reflects the same sentiment that the actual poll reflects, which is 9 SEC teams in the top 25. I have 6 of those 9 in the top 10 of my ballot. The actual AP poll is 5 of the top 10. It's a basketball conference, folks. With all due respect to the football operation, Greg Sankey, well done. 10 years ago, Greg Sankey and company said we are going to invest in basketball and we will see the fruits of our labor, and they certainly are here in the 2024-2025 season.
It is not a basketball conference, but yes, the best basketball conference is the SEC. That's what I'll say. But yeah, Florida now top 5 in the country after, of course, the demolishing of number 1 Tennessee in the O'Connell Center and then going on the road and beating Arkansas. And when Florida was down, 11-2, it looked like, oh, this is going to be one of those hangover games like Todd Golden preached to his team. Don't let that win over Tennessee be a hangover for you. And it was like, oh, this looks exactly like that. Get the Gatorade, get the Advil. But they certainly rallied back, bounced back. And look, he's got guys that each guy can go off in any given night.
Well,
and that's a phenomenal thing for a guy in his third year.
It's more than that, Lauren. It's that each guy can make winning plays. Like, do you ever watch, whether it's a football game, a basketball game, a hockey game, and you say, man, like, we really need a goal, or man, we really need a stop here. And 9 times out of 10, you don't actually get the stop, or you don't get that basket, or you don't get that touchdown that you're like, man, this would really, really go a long way. You do with Florida. And it's not from the same 2 or 3 guys, which I think a lot of people at the national level thought Walter Clayton Jr. is going to carry this team. When you need a bucket, you go to him. Todd Golden has 5 or 6 guys that he can go to. And that's where you look at this team. And nationally,
even more than
they're
6.
saying the F word.
Yeah, Final Four.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I mean, Florida's battle tested. They're certainly going to be battle tested by the time the SEC season is over. And they've got great depth, like you mentioned, but they've also got guys that can score in the paint. They don't have, like we talked about last week, they don't have like one guy who is that lethal 3-point shooter. Walter Clayton Jr. is the best, but certainly Elijah Martin can make his. Will Richard can make his. At times the bigs can make theirs. That's the one part of their game that they don't have that one guy who's going to hit 5 threes in a game. But because they're so good rebounding-wise, offensive and defensive rebounding, they don't necessarily need that in order to win.
And I forget the exact number, so humor me, Florida fans. Elijah Martin was 126th in the rankings in the transfer portal this offseason. He was in the 100s in terms of players in the transfer portal. That is an incredible evaluation. And look, I understand he was down the road in Boca at FAU and went to a Final Four, but that's an incredible evaluation by Todd Golden and his staff to say, hey, this is a guy who, yes, is already here in the state of Florida. He's in our backyard, and it would be easy to go grab him and say, come up the road to Gainesville, but also to recognize where he fits into the system because it's fit like a glove so far.
Yeah, no, he's been excellent, and he brings a lot of energy and passion to that team too, which I think that they need at times as well. And so it's been fun to watch. And then tomorrow night, 9:00, tip against Missouri. By the way, speaking...
Sorry, real quick. Did the new poll come out already today?
Yes.
So where is Florida on there? Fifth. Okay.
Yeah, so Florida was 6th, then dropped to 8th with the loss to Kentucky, then now back up to 5 with those 2
And
wins
Tennessee
recently.
now is behind Florida?
Yes, they are 7th. So here's the full top 10 according to the AP poll. And then I'll let you know. My ballot in the AP top 25 reflects this basically to a T. Auburn at 1, Iowa State 2, Duke 3, Alabama 4. I did give Florida the nod at 4, by the way. Never say I didn't do anything nice for you, Gator fans. Florida clocks in at 5 in the AP poll, Tennessee 6, Marquette 7, Kentucky 8, Kansas 9, Houston 10. I had Mississippi State at 10 in my ballot. And
Iowa State almost lost.
Yes. Yeah, I'll say so. They needed overtime to beat Texas Tech, who the metrics love. The metrics mafia is all about the Red Raiders, even though their strength of schedule is somewhere in the 200s.
It was so loud in that building.
Lubbock's awesome. I mean, for football and basketball, I think it's one of the more underrated college towns and venues across both sports. But yeah, that was no easy task for Iowa State, but they got a bucket to tie things up and send it to overtime with literally 0.3 seconds left on the clock. And so I would say in the same vein as Florida, Lauren, Iowa State, I promise this is no bias, folks. Iowa State has that gene, the clutch gene, like the factor that's different. Because I've covered multiple Iowa State teams that were ranked number 1 in the AP poll during my 3 years there. This one feels different because, again, when you need a bucket, when it just feels like I need somebody to step up, there's multiple guys who step up. And I will also credit Kentucky. I know that's unpopular in these parts, but I do want to credit Mark Pope, not only for the viral moment that he went up. First off, after every game, the Kentucky head coach goes into the stands, especially at visiting venues, and he thanks every single Kentucky fan that is in attendance, which is not for show. It's not like his predecessor. It is truly someone who went to that school and loves that university. And he actually went into the stands and he found a Kentucky fan who unfortunately is in a wheelchair, and so he wasn't able to come down and shake Mark's hand. And so he went up and sat with him for like 5-10 minutes, which Mark Pope has just in less than a calendar year's time completely changed the identity of that program. But it's the same thing too with them. They were in a tight game at Mississippi State down the stretch, and the execution in the final 2 minutes, running the shot clock down, just it says to me that that's a team that, yes, I understand they have tons of 5th and 6th year players that they got through the transfer portal, but that's another veteran, battle-tested team that when you need a bucket, they are there. They have that clutch gene. And so I was very impressed with all 3 outfits this weekend. And Cooper Flagg, also.
Cooper Flagg, my goodness.
He's also really, really good.
42 points, yeah. And Georgia's ranked in the AP top 25.
Dude, Georgia had a heck of a week, man. I mean, kudos to the Dogs.
Yep, and then beat Oklahoma to.
Is that their first appearance this year, or did they start?
It was the first appearance in many years.
In a couple. Well, no, they were in the AP poll earlier this season. But it was, or at the very least, they were on my ballot. But I thought they did crack the top 25 earlier this year, but then they fell out of it, Taylor. But they're back in, and they are currently ranked 23rd. And honestly, I think that's too low. I think I had them 19th. Because when you look at, they go to Ole Miss, who's a top 25 team. They beat Kentucky at home, sure. They beat an Oklahoma team that was one of the last 2 undefeated teams in the country. Granted, they'd already suffered a loss by then. They've also got wins over, St. John's, who at the time was ranked. Wins over Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, maybe not going to do a whole heck of a lot for you. Your only losses to a Marquette team that's in the top 10 outside of that loss to Ole Miss. I don't know. I just come away from it and I say, Mike White is actually figuring it out.
Georgia's ranked for the first time in the AP top 25 since 2011.
Oh, there you go. Okay, they were on my ballot for a couple
weeks. Since 2011. It's been a long time. Time now for our Terminix Pest of the Day. This guy is normally a really good play caller, but during Texas-Ohio State in the 4th quarter with a little over 2 minutes left to go, Steve Sarkisian called a toss sweep play on 2nd down. Yeah. And then 2 plays later, Quinn Ewers fumbled. We all know the end of the story. Jack Sawyer forces the fumble, picks it up, Scoop and scores. Asked, of course, after the game, too. Yeah, I just hope I didn't drop it, or I hope it didn't fall. Yeah, well, he didn't. And, of course, Ohio State went on to win. I hate Ohio State, so that had to be Steve Sarkisian, had to be today's Terminix Pest of the Day. We had Terminix out at the house last week. We have had 0 issues with pests since, and I know that will continue. You can find them online at Terminix.com, TERMN. minix.com. And then also they take care of so many different venues around town. If you go to any concerts, Terminix is keeping that venue pest-free for you. I wanted to mention before we say our final thoughts on the Jaguars coaching search, since we were last on air on Friday, since we talked about Florida gymnastics on Friday, Florida almost lost its opening meet, the quad meet. Like legit almost lost. It came down to the very like .025 as far as the points are concerned. And it's because Florida had 2 falls on floor, even though it was a home meet, so that shouldn't happen. But I'll give Florida this in its defense. They were trying out a lot of new materials, so like tons of new skills that they'd never tried out before. So we will see Florida at LSU this upcoming Friday night. That's going to be intense, but we will certainly track them as we go. All right, so as far as the Jaguars coaching search, we know that they've completed 4 interviews to this point in time, and certainly all the rumblings are that the interview with Ben Johnson went very well and that Shad was impressed with him. Whether or not Trent was impressed with him, I don't know.
There's also been conflicting reports of if Trent's in the interview I've seen too. So I don't know. There's a bunch of you who've reached out to me. I don't have any intel on how Saturday went. Hopefully at some point I will. What I do know is Robert Saleh will be interviewing tomorrow. Not sure right now if that's in person or virtual, but he will be another candidate to be interviewed. All candidates this week, even if they have been eliminated from the postseason, must be virtual. So Liam Cohen's interview at some point this week is expected to be virtual. Ditto to Kellen Moore, ditto to Joe Brady. Obviously, those two are still alive in the postseason with their current teams. Cohen's Bucks eliminated last night, but his first round interview will be virtual, and then the in-person second-round interviews next week is when you can start bringing in candidates in person.
Yeah, and I will say Saleh has the Raiders on Thursday,
Correct.
Jags on Tuesday, Raiders on Thursday. So if those are in-person interviews, certainly a lot of jet setting for him.
Yeah, I think that you just were talking about something, Mia, when we were talking about college basketball, and you were talking about what Mark Pope's done for Kentucky, changing the identity, like completely changing the identity, and how much that's helped this squad this year. And that's the type of guy that you need.
Yep.
That's the type of guy that
Love
when
that.
you come and one season, not even a full season yet, you've been able to turn this team. And I know we've had these conversations of, was Tom Coughlin too tough on the guys? And maybe Doug Peterson was a little too nice, because that we're hearing he's this good guy, but obviously he wouldn't part ways with Press Taylor, and it would, if he did, would things be different for him right now? We'll never know. But you do need somebody in the middle who is going to hold these guys accountable, who is not scared to change this and create an identity for the team. And because we've seen it, I know the Chargers just lost, but we saw what Jim Harbaugh was able to do with that team and turning around a lot of things, because he made it a little more of that tough. And we said they were doing that with Ryan Nielsen on that side of the ball, the attack style. Obviously, that wasn't it. But you need somebody who's going to come in here and set this identity and establish something in that realm.
And I think what's important to note, Taylor, for those of you who don't know who Mark Pope is, like, please Google him. Tell me if that guy is gruff, physical, focused on defense and being all gritty. He's not.
Yeah.
But he has a system. He has a system of accountability. He has expectations and standards he set, especially because he played and was the captain of the 1996 national championship team at Kentucky. He plays with passion. There's a certain way that they work the ball around the arc. And as long as you are buying into that, you will find success. And again, I think that speaks to that big question and discussion we had last week about culture and identity. It doesn't always have to be gruff, run the ball, play great defense, whether it's football or basketball.
Let's say hello to a gruff guy now.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Joe, no surprise, Mike Vrabel to the Patriots. A little surprise, maybe Mike McCarthy out in Dallas. So we're back to 6 openings.
Yeah, it's so funny. Jerry Jones just kind of hosed Mike McCarthy. Really, really bad. Remember that?
Or maybe the other way around, because now it's Jerry that's behind the 8 ball. I mean, Mike McCarthy had the Bears requesting him last week
It
here.
is kind of maybe free McCarthy type of feeling, because McCarthy is out from underneath him. But anyway, remember when Jerry Jones would always say, gosh, I could see him coaching here forever. He just said all that stuff, just glossing on McCarthy. And then you're thinking, well, he's got to fire him last year, which he didn't. And then you're thinking, well, he got to fire him this year, which he didn't. And then he just let him dangle. And then now he has to wait a full week before he can go interview. Anyway, I just thought it was BS on Jerry's part. Mike McCarthy did not do a good enough job to keep his job.
Yeah.
But just take a look at the former Super Bowl winning coaches that have been bounced. Doug Peterson, Mike McCarthy, Sean Payton got hammered. Jim Harbaugh made it to the Super Bowl, got hammered. And so anyway, it's interesting, and we'll find out how attractive that job is.
Hammered on the field or off?
Maybe
well
both.
said. Well said.
Maybe at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Where does your current feelings lie when it comes to who the Jaguars' next head coach should be? Are you still sticking by your Ben Johnson?
Yeah, I'm still rooting for that. There's really nothing that's pulling me away from that. I don't know how true anything is being said on X or social about Shad being swayed one way or another based on what the wishes are of the potential head coach. And I just don't believe it right now. I'd love for it to happen, but I don't believe it. But he's right now the most intriguing guy because just take a look at what these offenses did. They ran the football extremely well, the ones that kicked butt this weekend, and their quarterbacks were on the move. C.J. Stroud got on the move after a couple bad plays. All of a sudden said, oh, my God, I see an open field. He just started taking off.
Oh, that's right. The Chargers are one of the worst teams defensively against mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I should probably run.
It's just Trevor needs to discover, again, that element of his game and what he can do and how much better he can be if he uses that part of his skill set. Anyway, hopefully a coach will be able to bring that out of him.
Yeah, I think we've had that conversation a lot, Joe, of which coach will bring that out, which coach does want to take that side of Trevor and enhance it. Because when we talk about Ben Johnson, which has been the main topic, obviously, around here, what he does offensively is that offensive line is a massive part of what they are able to accomplish. But the run game, too. And then that's just opened so many opportunities for Jared Goff. And I think that's what people want to see here.
Yeah, going into last night's game, and I can't even remember the stats last night. But anyway, the three AFC winning teams, each running back had over 100 yards. Derrick Henry averaged 10 yards per carry. The other guys averaged 5 yards per carry. The running game is back. It's a way to defense the cover two defense to where you can at least set it up where you got to respect the run and then you can make bigger plays down the field. They have got to figure out a way to work off play action, which is what Ben Johnson does. You can go to any of that Sean McVay tree, and those guys certainly have proven it. Anyway, run the damn ball and free this offense up a little bit more.
All right, Joe, thanks so much.
All right, guys.
We'll be listening.
Thank
I know, I'm sure, a lot of Jaguars coming up on this program. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. XL Primetime comes up next.